Okay, I thought I'd do an update on Prima today too. So today we kind of got to everybody, and Prima has just been humming along on this exact same exercise for most of a year, and little by little just steadily put on more muscle, put on more weight. Her diet really hasn't changed. I mean, she kind of gets as much food as she will eat without hay, but she gets pellets and cubes and lots of hay substitutes. And so what we're doing is we're wrapping up. We'll do the last 5 minutes to the right. She's been working 30 minutes right, 30 minutes left. And I think in the last update video I did with Prima, again, the sound was a little wonky because I didn't realize my batteries were losing power. But what I was excited about in the last video is not that I have a lot more forward, but Prima tends to, not right this moment, tends to lengthen her neck and hold the posture of length through her top line. She comes to it sooner, she holds it longer, it's more comfortable for her, and that's where we're going to start seeing some muscle development finally through her back, and her hindquarters may be starting to round out a little bit more. And at her age, it's just going to be a slow process. She's not going to change rapidly. I really don't feel good about pushing her into trot or canter. I just like this slow, steady progress that she's been making at the walk. She really loves her work. She easily goes for a whole hour. So we're going to kind of look at the last 5 minutes to the right. And that's the posture I'm getting most of the time because I had to kind of stop and set the camera up and all that. She went back to shortening her neck. But this posture with her lengthening her neck, even lowering her pole below her withers while she, well, there's a scratch. But if she maintains forward in that posture of long and low, what that's telling me is that her hindquarters are feeling stable enough to her that she can release that shortening contraction through her neck and her top line. So it sort of speaks to core muscle development in her case, that the core muscles that support the stability of her spine, rib cage, and pelvis are getting much stronger. And we don't see a lot of outer muscle development yet, although she looks like she's put on weight. She doesn't look so emaciated like she did when I started videotaping her in this work. And it's just been a slow but steady progression into better and better. So we'll call that kind of the last 5 minutes to the right. And you can see the longer she goes, the more comfortable she gets, lengthening her neck without losing the forward. And that coordination tells me that she's improved her core strength, that she's improved her axial stability, and that we're on our way to seeing more muscle development on the outside as she can hold that posture with a lengthened neck for more and more time. And then you may notice she has a couple scratches on top of her hindquarter and on her rib cage on this side. And after we had the hurricane, she usually gets along very well with Rarely Wrong, and I had put them together, which was my mistake, in a paddock, sort of trying to keep both of them calm when we could turn horses out again after the storm, and Rarely kicked her. And that can happen. It was my bad for putting Prima at risk. So she stays by herself now. She's healed up very nicely, but she got some good wallops from another horse, and again had to kind of bounce back from that. So as we start on our new direction, this is pretty typical where she gets a little stuck. She might toss her head, she shortens her neck a lot. And then as we go, we'll do at least 10 minutes this way and sort of see how she's doing with changing her posture, which is the stronger indicator of her developing the right kind of muscle strength compared to her increasing her speed or having to work at faster gaits or even being able to work at faster gaits. So slow and steady is fine. The fact that she's not stopping, of course, unless she has an itch or something like that, that's also a sign that she's getting more comfortable. Hello, kitty. And then the last video I did, I don't know if the sound got cut off entirely. I can't remember. I left it up there so you could sort of see how she's doing, even though the sound got cut off. But what I was excited about was how quickly she was starting to lengthen her neck and go from that posture of extension into the posture of long and low. The other thing I notice is that she's a whole lot lighter on the long reins. I don't have the heaviness in the corrections, and the heaviness on the long reins really indicates a loss of control over their own body weight. That's what we're kind of feeling when the reins change pressure. And when they're heavy, it's just because they don't have a lot of self-control over their weight distribution during motion, which is what happens when the back is dropped or the hindquarters are unstable or they become very weak. So for her to get lighter and lighter on the long reins is another sign that she's carrying herself better, that she's in better control of any weight shifts left to right and even weight shifts onto her front legs, because she's just not as heavy even on the inside rein. When she does lengthen her neck, it's not increasing the heaviness of the rein. So that tells me she's slowly learning to lengthen and control the fall forward from the core strength in her back, barrel, hindquarter. So I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch. I love doing it with her. We haven't changed exercises at all because this is just kind of working for her, and it gives her the most amount of support to rebuild her body and regain her strength. So this is all we do, and we do it probably, I think she just had a couple days off, so I would say very steadily 3 to 5 times a week for 30 minutes each way. And if I work other horses first, like I did today, she comes looking for me, and she loves her long rein time. And the suppleness that's coming through the muscles as well, where she has less and less muscle definition, tells me also that she's using the muscles more appropriately. When we see a lot of muscle definition, not just an absence of muscle, like in her case where she's atrophied through her back and hindquarter, but when we see muscle definition, like what we call an apple butt or a poverty groove, or we see lumps of hard muscle either around the loins, what that means is that those muscles are really overworking, which also tells us other muscles, maybe deeper ones that we can't see, are not working enough. So I'm really happy to see the muscle definition start to smooth out, where I'm not seeing lines between muscles, because what that indicates is all of her muscles, core muscles and outer muscles, are working more appropriately, which is the benefit of improving skeletal coordination. Yeah, so that longer neck within a steady forward motion is the best I can ask her to do. And she's a great example to kind of look at her videos over time and go, you wouldn't think a walk, and only the walk, and going this slow, some people think it could never build muscle at all. And by putting Prima's training videos up here, even though we're still doing the same thing. We're not going to change what we're doing. It's working. And she's a 30-plus-year-old horse. So just to watch the muscle development take shape when I do an update on her can be a real eye-opener. That we don't have to do anything super fast or dramatic or something that risks injury to our horse or ourselves in order to gain not only balance, but very strong muscles. And it's a little slower to develop the musculature at the walk, but it also is maybe safer for the body if the horse is really in bad condition, if you can see the muscle atrophy of her top line. She just doesn't have a lot of strength, and her hindquarter. And so slow and steady in a good coordination is sort of the tortoise versus pushing her to trot, putting her in stress during exercise is like the hare, and the tortoise wins the race. So again, the posture and the feel of the long reins are really guiding me to know that this is going to work for her, that she's making improvements even if we can't see a more energetic forward yet, and even if we can't see, because the muscles develop slowly, even if we can't see the outer muscles fully developed, we know we're working our way there. So she's happy with the work, I'm happy with the work. We may run out of time before her body fully kind of heals and gets strong again, but we get to enjoy the time we have together.